Snapdowns. Some people are great at them, some people are terrible at them. Hi, my name's Max, and in today's video, we'll be looking at the snapdown in the sport of BJJ. We'll be looking at the various types of snapdowns, their mechanics, and how we can best capitalize on situations they create. It is a skill often attributed to strength or timing, and I hope to demonstrate that with some key insights, those aren't the only factors to have a successful snapdown. There are some important aspects I'd like to bring to your attention, so you can be more successful with this move and its variations. In the first section, we'll look at 4 different variations of snapdowns, and what I want to focus on is the foot positioning and the body positioning. This is how some of these athletes are getting the most amount of power out of their snapdowns. The first thing you'll learn about snapdowns is in order to bring someone's hands to the mat, you typically need squared feet. This is so that their weight isn't going into the front foot when you pull someone's head, as shown here. The stepping snap does an excellent job of finding or forcing your partner to have squared feet, either by going towards the inside or the outside. In this example, John steps towards the outside, which brings Giancarlo's head over his foot, and because his head is over his foot, it means he can't move that foot, and as a result the back foot has to move. And because the back foot has to move, he's momentarily square, which gives him the ability to snap him down. Now that we've gone over some general mechanics for this snapdown, let's take a look at some examples of this happening in competitive matches. We'll be looking at clips predominantly from Isaac Michel, who's going to be heavily featured in this study. The first 2 clips featured will be from when Isaac Michel competed in the trials. Now I want to highlight that he was an under 88 kg athlete competing in the under 99 kg division. So that should add a bit more weight to just how powerful these snapdowns were, considering he was against much bigger athletes. He comes out, he grips over his partner, and he immediately hits a strong snapdown. Now, the grip set he's using here is a collar tie and a forearm snap. So what I want to highlight is the fact that his hand is actually it's not touching the head, he's creating a distance. This is like an old school wrestling tactic that you'll see quite frequently, where they load up the hand so that when it hits the head with a lot of power. The second grip he has is in the crook of his partner's elbow. Now, with this wrist snap that he's doing along with the collar tie, he's purposely creating a strong bend in the arm so that when he pinches his lat and he does the stepping snap towards the outside, you get a strong purchase which allows you to pull your partner down towards the ground. The combination of stepping towards the outside and finding his partner with squared feet and having strong upper body grips is what makes this snapdown so effective and get his partner straight to the ground. This second snapdown is particularly interesting because he's using a different grip set, however he's getting very similar results. So what he's doing here is he's looking to strip his partner's collar tie as he does the same footwork pattern, which is what allows him to bring his partner's hand to the mat. As you see, he momentarily finds his partner with square feet and he's able to bring him down towards the mat through his footwork and body movement, not just strong upper body gripping. For our third example of the stepping snap, what you're going to see here is you're going to see that same forearm hand positioning with his left hand, and with his right hand he's got a downwards V grip on his opponent's wrist. Now he's going to do the same footwork pattern of the stepping snap, stepping towards the outside. As he steps towards the outside, he snaps the wrist on his neck as he pulls the arm across his center line, resulting in a beautiful snap. Now I believe this snapdown is called a Russian snap, which was popularized in that MMA video with DC and Khabib during their wrestling training. Let's take a look at our second variation of snapdown, and this is going to be the side snap. Now the side snap is a particularly interesting movement, and I'm going to have to do a lot of rambling about wrestling footwork, but I promise you, if you bear with me, this will make a lot of sense, and also it will result in some really interesting findings. I discovered this variation of snapdown, and when I say discovered, I should probably say I spotted this variation of snapdown studying some of Nicky Rod's matches. Now, the match I stumbled across in first was in the Black Belt Slayer documentary when he was fighting Orlando Sanchez. Now, for those who don't know, Orlando Sanchez, may he rest in peace, is like quite a formidable opponent. He's very big. And so, for Nicky Rod to be able to snap him down this effectively was quite curious, because it's like you can't think it's just strength alone when they've got, you know, quite a size difference between them. Okay, so getting to the snap. This is kind of a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing, so I've slowed it down. What Nicky Rod's going to do is what I'm going to refer to as a reverse split step. Now, the reason I'm giving it a new name is because I couldn't find, like, there isn't a name for this movement that I'm aware of. However, what he's essentially doing is loading up his snap like you would load up a shot. Now, what you'll often be taught is, at least in jiu-jitsu, when you shoot you just drop to a knee. Now in wrestling schools this is not how they do it. What they do is they do this movement before they drop to their knees, where they get low to the ground, and this is called the split step, as shown here. And in these clips here featuring Jordan Burroughs, who's got one of the best double legs around. So he's not using the split step to go forward to shoot, he's blading his body, hence the name side snap, and he's actually going backwards, which is what allows him to generate so much power and be able to snap someone such as Orlando Sanchez. And if you don't believe me, just listen to Homlo Bahal's reaction to his snapdowns.
Good job, man. Fucking monster. Yeah. Fucking heavy snapdowns. Fuck that. Holy fuck. Never see somebody snap down or learn like that.
For our third variation of snap, we're going to look at Isaac Michel against Wagner. Now, it's Southpaw versus orthodox, so the footwork doesn't actually have to change, but the direction of your snap has to be quite precise. Now, when they're in this foot-to-foot situation, if Isaac just snaps towards the center, he's able to find squared feet relatively easy and actually snap Wagner with quite a lot of power. If you have a training partner who typically leads left foot, so if they have a history of striking, I suppose, then you'll encounter this quite a lot, and you will be surprised by how easily you can bring their hand to the mat if they're unaware of this small detail. From another angle, from the same match, he's able to still get the same snap down again by finding the squared feet and then pulling the hands in the right direction. For our fourth and final variation of snapdown, we're going to look at what I'm going to call the square snap. Now, you're going to have square shoulders with your partner, and you'll go into a split step. Now, what's interesting about the snapdown is the fact that you can do it against staggered feet. Now, the reason this works is because when you load up your snap, weight goes into the front leg, which means that as you pull your partner down, they have to walk towards you with the back leg, and then momentarily square. And so as you time this as they take the step, then you get very powerful snapdown. I'll continue to go into detail in the other clips, but breaking down this clip in particular, what you're going to see is Nicky takes a step backwards going into the split step. Now he's not stepping out to the side, he's stepping backwards, which means he's in a split step like we saw earlier from the wrestling position before you take a shot. As he goes into the split step, his level changes, he loads up his arms, he's going to close his elbows, and as a result he creates a purchase and a bend in the arms, and he creates a very strong snap down. Now I want to just focus on the footwork more so for now, and the bowing as he does this square snap. Here we have a great example of how a square snap can snap opponent who has staggered feet. Now what you'll see is there's weight going through the front foot, and weight is typically defined as head over the lead leg, and because if you put someone's head over their lead leg, they can't lift that foot off the floor. And now, because his opponent can't lift that leg off the floor, he's forced to step forward with the rear leg, which means there's a moment where he's square, and as you catch someone when they're square, you can then snap them. Again, to reinforce, this comes from using a split step and pushing off your lead leg backwards with a slight level change dip. Final example of the square snap, you're going to see Nicky takes his trail leg backwards, putting himself into a split step. He pushes off that lead leg, and as a result he gets a very powerful snap once again. Moving on to section 2, we're going to go over my favourite part of the video, which is the interplay between your trail leg going into a split step and shots. Now that you have proper snapping mechanics via all the different methods we've highlighted, with the square snap in particular, because you go into a split step, there's an interchangeability between going into shots or going into snaps. Now, I'm saying split step and not reverse split step because when we looked at Nicky Rod's what I called a reverse split step, his body is so side on, he's almost going backwards because he needs the extra power to get his partner down to the ground. Whereas this one's very interchangeable, and I'm going to highlight that now. Going back to proper shooting mechanics for your takedowns, we'll look at some examples of Nicky Ryan taking shots. So what you'll notice is he's relatively tall because of course he's doing jiu-jitsu, and his trail leg just sort of drifts backwards, and once it drifts backwards, as he level changes, he'll already be in a split step. We saw in the other examples that wrestling coach demonstrating jumping into the split step, and so there's quite a few ways of entering it, but one of the interesting ones that I'm highlighting here is how as that leg drifts backwards, he's in a shot already, so all he has to do is level change, and then he can get a very nice shot where he'll do a double knee slide and he'll get deep into a locked double leg. So now you should be able to see a pattern beginning to form, which is if you're able to do square snaps and have that trail leg drift backwards, you're already in a shot, but also you're in a snap down, which means you can play the two off of one another as a dilemma. So this is where you can start going into either feinting snaps into shots or feinting shots into snaps. So we'll look at those examples now, where Nicky snaps his opponent down, and then in the very next clip, as he drifts backwards, he's going to look to go straight into a shot. Now you can set up your shots with even very small things, such as just like a little head touch. Now this is sort of drifting into another video which would be feint, but as you can see here, just a little head touch is enough to make the hands drift, and as your trail leg's sneaking backwards, you can take a nice shot like Nicky does here. That concludes the Snapdown video, and this is a 1 of 2 part series. In the next video we'll be looking at some upper body snaps and other combinations, but stay tuned for that. Let me know which one was your favourite variation of Snapdown, and if you find anything interesting, be sure to leave it in the comment section down below. Aside from that, please be sure to check out my other videos, my Instagram, and also just have a wonderful day. And if your Snapdowns improve, then maybe you'll get a compliment like Homlo gave Nicky.
Good job, man. Fucking monster. Yeah. Fucking heavy Snapdowns. Fuck that.